Well, Cogta in KwaZulu-Natal wants the focus to shift from coalition municipalities to ensure smooth running. The province has placed 9 municipalities under administration. Reasons for interventions include poor financial management, service delivery failures, as well as governance issues. Cogta MECC Potlumuka met with the administrators to discuss the way forward earlier today. Our senior reporter Dasen Thathiah has been following the story, and he joins us now from our Durban studios. Dasen, always a pleasure speaking to you. Just give us an overview of the current situation in KZN municipalities, some being placed on administration. It's just chaotic at this point.
Exactly. In fact, some of those had been placed in administration for going on 5 years, some less than that, 2 years and 3 years. So a number of them have been undergoing this process for a while now. And the intention here is to fix those municipalities, because in many cases it's that irregular expenditure, it's not being able to account for how those funds are being spent, and just a pure lack of service delivery that has led to these interventions by Cogta. Now, very basic services in some of those municipalities like electricity and water are not being provided. So of those 9, there were more, and some of those issues have been resolved and control has been handed back to those municipalities. But currently, those 9 still remain a problem. One of those is Msunduzi. You'll know it very well. That's where recently we saw issues around electricity. My colleague Letiwe Mhluli was just talking about water problems that residents were facing there. So that is one of the municipalities that is still under administration, in fact, since 2019. So a very important meeting that was held today with the MEC for Cogta and those administrators. He wanted to get feedback on what was going on there and what kind of progress they'd made. The last time we got an update on this was about 6 months ago, and today's meeting was to chart a way forward and decide if any of those municipalities are now able to get out of the situation that they are in. Look, there has been action that has been taken over the past year or so. Some officials or some of the cases have been referred to the SAPS. There are criminal charges that have been laid. Some people have been fired in the process, but as I mentioned, those municipalities, that the 9 of them, still remain a problem.
In that regard, then, what are some of those challenges that are actually facing administrators at Dasen? Because it looks as though to salvage the issue means to root out the corruption, but to root out the corruption, there needs to be active collaboration.
That's right. And in some cases, I guess the administrators themselves are part of the problem. And I say that because the MEC, in briefing those that meeting today, was saying that there were cases where, although there is an administrator placed at a municipality, some of the officials, the senior officials there, are still having their own way. He made an example of, in one case, where about 70% of normal councillors at Msunduzi had security officials assigned to them. In other cases, he was talking about how security vehicles and mileage claims were being, they were just bloated, and that's how some of that money was slipping through the cracks. And in some cases, they didn't know where this money was going. So the newest problem that is facing this province now is the high number of coalitions, and administrators have been tasked with making sure that they make sure that these particular municipalities are stable. Let's listen now to the HOD for Cogta, Mr. Thando Tubane, talk a little bit more about that.
Those elections really showed us that we are having a number of coalitions in this province which have higher numbers, and that on its own, it spells that we need to double our efforts in terms of assisting those municipalities, because managing coalitions is a difficult task and it's going to be difficult. Hence, our support to municipalities must be doubled. That is what really we must try and do. We're talking with the MEC now, counting on the number of suspensions of accounting officers. Today we received about 2, if not 3. We've been getting more, and that must tell you that something needs a clear focus, clear attention that we must, and a clear direction.
We'll leave it there, Dasen Thathiah, just giving us the latest in terms of what is happening with some of the municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal. And still ahead for you on